It's your boy Jacknups and check it out because Meek Mill finally responds to the internet uproar just going at him about a diss track he finally put out. Now, here's the funny thing. People were mad that he didn't put out a track. Now they're mad that he did put out a track and they didn't like it. Now, here's the thing. Okay, Meek Mill got on Instagram. He said this because he's disappointed with the fans because he really did this for the fans because initially he wanted to show them the real. Remember that? Now, he said this. He said, so this is rap now? You could have a nigga write your raps and that's acceptable, just like in the streets you can tell on people and still be the man and still get the same respect as the next man? It's almost over for the game, LOL. I'm confused out here. I'm making all trap music after I do my thing with them. We still loaded. Hashtag Quentin Miller. Change the game. Hashtag you the real MVP. Now, we know Meek Mill, he loves social media. But here's the thing. Because what he's really trying to say, he's sad that the fans who he thought would back him with him providing these things, these facts, or these at least some type of proof to the stuff he said on Twitter. Remember, he's talked about reference tracks. He provided the reference tracks. He thought people would give him more credit. Instead, people are saying it's over. This is the funny thing about it. Meek Mill made the mistake of thinking people cared more about the reference track instead of him going at Drake. Really, the majority of people cared about him going at the hottest rapper, not about the reference track. And now, let me tell you this, because you're going to always have some fringe people like, no, I don't care. No, you care. You're not in the majority. You are the minority, okay? You're not the reason why Meek Mill is typing this out. Meek Mill is typing this out because everybody is going in on him, okay? At least the majority. Okay, now, here's the thing, because also somebody asked me, they say, yo, do you think social media has anything to do with the reaction to Meek Mill? I said, absolutely. Don't get it twisted. Meek Mill record that he put out is called Wanna Know, link in the description. It wasn't dope, but it wasn't garbage, okay? It was kind of like, It was kind of like, that's it? It's kind of like, really? I mean, social media, though, right? If you look on social media, they're not even giving it a chance. And I kind of get it. I can get why. He took a couple of days. He should have really clapped back instantly. He started something he couldn't finish. But I did say this, okay? I said, had Meek drop his track first, no tweeting, just out of the blue, came out, dropped this track with the reference track in it, the Know Yourself or whatever, right? Drake would be on his fourth track right now responding to Meek. But taking a week to respond with somewhat of a subpar diss is kind of like, okay. Social media is going to chew your ass up. I mean, just think about it, right? One diss in by Meek Mill and people are saying, no more. No, I'm done. No, we're done. Meek, you're done. You're pretty much finished. You got to either get out of here. Okay, wave the white flag. It's over. Quit. Now, why are people saying that, right? The reason why people are saying that is because social media is also affecting their perception. We're all on Twitter, Instagram. We're seeing jokes upon jokes upon jokes, memes upon memes upon memes. We're seeing corporations use Meek Mill's name as a punchline for somebody who already caught an L. We're seeing celebrities not even in hip-hop culture basically just comment saying, yo, Meek is done. We're actually even looking at politicians as their words really hold weight. But it's social media. So when you see all that effect and it culminates and it builds up, you probably think, yo, fuck it, man. Listen, I was going to wait for the second diss, but Meek, you're dead. Now I got to give credit to somebody on my Twitter. I can't remember their name, but they said this. Okay, they said social media is the home turf of a rapper like Drake. It's true. Drake does a lot of hashtag rapping. I mean, all of his music, think about his whole catalog. It's a bunch of late night quotables, great catchphrases, charged up, back-to-back trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. Jesus Christ. Right? Now, social media doesn't mean you're going to win. Not because that's like Drake's home turf mean he's going to win. It just means that if you have any momentum and you know how to use it to your advantage on social media, it make it seem like you already won when you're just an elite. Drake's definitely an elite. But it doesn't mean it's already over. But to people, it's already fucking over. Now, the thing is, Drake's a strategist. Meek is not, right? Drake's playing mind games. Meek doesn't. I mean, Drake, he did the same thing to Tyga and Chris Brown. Remember, he started liking Blac Chyna's pictures. He flew Kakarot to the 6. Except it's the same thing as this thing with Meek, because he's playing mind game with Meek as well. However, there's no dedicated diss songs to Tyga and Chris Brown. Now, the beef at this point, at least in public perception, right? Because what Drake is doing right now is not only because, Meek called him out, so he's so mad now. What he's doing, He's trying to make an example out of Meek Mill, right? Drake is trying to do his best imitation of medieval times where you put the nigga or your enemy's head on a stake in front of the front gate that whoever's gonna ride past, they could look at like, damn, look what he did to his last enemy. Let's not invade that people, okay? That group of people. Let's leave them alone. So it's not even about Meek Mill no more. Now, my personal thoughts. I think a reference track for Rico is flat out ridiculous. Okay, it's a verse. We're not talking about a song, it's a verse. If you're using a reference track for a verse, it's ridiculous. But just like in other instances, right, where people were allowed or co-signed to do certain things that people thought that was kind of breaking hip-hop integrity codes or rules, we've gotten to the place where, listen, hey, even if you're bent out of shape about it personally, if the majority of people don't care, nothing's gonna happen. It will exist. The fact is this, man. The industry, the music industry particularly, is filled with a bunch of fakes and a bunch of niggas playing politics. Believe me, I've seen it myself, okay? Now, what Meek Mill did, he underestimated the internet thinking that he could rely on the internet to support the quote-unquote real. Right? Because he actually started thinking like the internet was the streets, okay? He thought they were going to ride with the real, okay, against the fake. And the fake, it was supposed to be real versus fake. The fake is Drake. The real is Meek Mill, right? But I told you guys before, and I told Meek Mill specifically, before you open your mouth about what's real or trying to be real in the music business, an industry full of fakes, just take a good look around, okay? Because in reality, you know who I'm mad at? I'm mad at his boss, Ricky Rose. I'm mad that he didn't tip Meek Mill off beforehand saying, dog, pipe all that shit down. Let me tell you this, nobody cares. They even forgave me. Because must we forget, Ricky Rose, the self-proclaimed biggest boss, the one who was rumored to move weight across the Atlantic and push dope through his iPhone, which is some Guinness Book of World Record type of fuckery and coonery. We find out that guy was actually a fucking CO. We found that out 6 years ago. He's still in hip-hop, and he's doing better than ever. So you're telling me that you, and by the way, like, Rick Ross being a CO is so accepted. If you actually bring that up now, you're actually lame, to be honest. And people are like, yo, you're still talking about that? Ooh, nigga, what's wrong with you? That's the biggest exposure ever in hip-hop. Nobody gives a fuck about it right now. You know why? Because even though 50 Cent was more popular than Rick Ross at the time, yes, the exposure was like, oh my God, really? People sided with Rick Ross because during that time period, Rick Ross made the better music. People are like, well, he's making good music. Fuck it. So if you think they sided with a bigger exposure that Rick Ross is a CO over what 50 Cent was saying, why wouldn't they side with Drake? At least the majority. I'm talking about the majority. Okay, I'm not talking about you bent out of shape at your keyboard slamming it. No, get out of here. If they sided with Rick Ross, why wouldn't they side with Drake if he makes better music? Why? You can't be the stupid. Come on, rationalize it for yourself. Now, ultimately, because I said I got my personal opinion, I really don't like the fact there's a reference track for Rico. Pisses me off, okay? You should not need a formula to craft a single verse. And it's not about, oh, you didn't use all the lines. No, you shouldn't need a formula or a blueprint to craft a single fucking verse. But ultimately, I'm not the morality police. I'm kind of appalled that Drake had a reference track for Rico. As I said, it's like copying someone's homework or personal statement. But really, the power ultimately lies with the fans, not a medium, not a media personality like myself, not a TV station, not a radio station, right? Not what's going to be printed in the news. It's the fans. If the fans allow it, if the fans say cool or the fans say we don't care, just give us the music, all that shit you talking don't matter. Because people like me that do care about the integrity, okay? I mean, I care about the holy grail of what you could consider a MC in hip-hop. We're in the minority. The fans are choosing. And I know you wish the minority was a majority, but it's not. Get over that shit. Now, back in the day, as I said, Meek Mill exposing this and getting the right industry heads on his sides, like say he got Hot 97 back in the early 2000s on the side, and listen, they say, yo, we're going to really go in and expose him this week. Drake probably is done. He'd probably have to be a full-time R&B singer or just quit, period. But now it's not about just getting a couple industry people on your side. Now it's about convincing the fans, and the fans have an active voice on social media. Now, the majority of fans are saying, just give us good music. Basically, they say, yo, Meek, you need a ghostwriter. This is how funny it is. People look at Meek and say, yo, Meek, this was weak. You need a ghostwriter. Go find one, please. If you don't think about what you're saying, people just want the music. So people don't care about the ghostwriting shit. Okay, people use the excuse, well, even if somebody wrote those songs, Drake wrote those disses, though. What's up with those? Exactly. Basically, Meek, can you convince the majority of fans to give a fuck about what you're saying, what your issue is? Because right now, they've chalked you up to be a salty fucking hater, okay? Literally, the consensus is that Meek Mill, you have lost. And to be honest, they don't want to hear you respond. They just want you to go away, shut up, tour, and don't get on social media. That's just the facts. I'm talking facts, and I'm talking about the majority. Facts is this. Majority of people, as I said, care about Meek Mill going at the hottest rapper over Drake being exposed for reference tracks. Meek Mill thought the latter. He thought it was the exposure that people cared about. He thought the exposure was going to help him. It didn't help. The people who think it helped are in the minority. Me included. I care. I'm like, oh, what? Yo, I'm listening to Rico, the goddamn reference check. I'm like, oh my God, no. But at the end of the day, the majority rules. I might see it. I might clown it. I clown Young Thug all the damn time, but enough people rock with it that it exists. And you better get used to it. Meek got to get used to it. He's learned a lesson. You got to get used to it if you have a problem with it. And the facts is, it is what it is. Get in the comment box. Make sure you guys like. Definitely subscribe to your boy, Akademiks. I'm out.